So far, rumors around Deadpool debuting in the MCU center around one of three ideas. He's either teaming up with Spider-Man at the end of Far From Home, getting his own Disney Plus series, or getting a sequel somewhere in the Phase 4 lineup. It's an endless supply of possibilities. And for some, it can be hard to figure out how we get from rumor to fact. The Binger is here to count down all the best possible ways that Deadpool could be a part of the MCU here in Phase 4. We'll start with the easy one that we talked about in the intro. Yes, folks, it's possible we're about to get a Spider-Man and Deadpool team up. It'd be the ultimate buddy cop film. For those not familiar with the comic book history between the two characters, just know this: it's like a more fantastic version of Lethal Weapon. Seriously, their banter together is that great. Here's the issue. Spider-Man Far From Home was shot before Deadpool was a character under the MCU banner. His mutant origin put him squarely in the 20th Century Fox umbrella. So how does he mix in with the Phase 4 plans? Well, there are a few answers to that, but some of those answers will be discussed in later entries. This entry is focused on the team up with Spider-Man specifically. So we're talking about some form of Marvel Studios content that includes the two teaming up on a regular basis. So the obvious choice would be some kind of television series. The two could go on episodic adventures together and work on saving the day one free churro at a time. Yes, that was a reference to Spider-Man Homecoming, and we're happy that we made it. Counter to that is a far-out theory that seems hard to believe. So you may have heard in some circles of internet fandom that the stealthy-looking Spider-Man in the Far From Home trailers is actually from another reality. Well, this new theory goes one step further. Some people out there think that the identity isn't revealed during the film, but it's a different version of Spider-Man. The audience will come to find out in a later movie that it was actually Wade Wilson. Now, there are a lot of problems with that theory. We put it out there so it doesn't go undiscussed, but we're not putting much faith in it. You'd be better off trusting the Disney Plus version of the theory. Trust us on this one. Now, this one is a fun one to talk about, and hopefully it's a new one for you. This version of Deadpool centers around a possible inclusion in a Disney Plus series. Yeah, you're gonna notice a running theme in this video. We promise some of these include potential solo adventures and whatnot. However, for the most part, most of these are potential Disney Plus spin-offs. Anyways, on to the good stuff. So some viewers might already know the rumors surrounding the series called What If being produced at Marvel Studios. Multiple outlets are confirming it's in the works. So let's get into the details. Basically, think of the show like a Marvel version of The Twilight Zone. Every episode brings you a look at an alternate storyline based on a big question. For instance, the rumored first episode is supposed to include Peggy Carter and be centered around the question, what if Peggy Carter was Captain America? Sounds fun, right? Okay, that's the show. Now it's time to include our favorite fourth wall breaking lunatic into the mix. So asking these big timeline altering questions requires the viewer to look at the show as a series of alternate realities. It's easy to do in theory, but it may not fit every Marvel fan's tastes. So what if you add an additional layer of fourth wall commentary? That's right, we're talking about making Deadpool the host of What If, just like Jordan Peele does now for the reboot of The Twilight Zone. The mix provides a familiar face to guide the viewer through some messy hypotheticals. Deadpool can even make small appearances in each episode that will keep the viewer guessing as to when he'll show up. Look, we're not saying he is destined for this role, but he's totally designed for this role. It'd be an easy way to introduce him to a wider PG Marvel audience during Phase 4. Then, at the start of Phase 5, the MCU can put him into his next solo film. He can't sit on the television show sidelines forever. Time to get into a real heavy hitter. We're moving away from the television show details momentarily. Sort of. Not really. This entry can work in a number of ways, but focuses on the multiverse and its exploration. See, someone needs to go around to all the different cinematic realities and tell us what's up. Who better to do that than the Merc with the mouth? Logically, any character with the ability to time travel would be up to the task. However, ask yourself this: who would you rather have guide you through the multiverse? Hawkeye or Deadpool? If you said Hawkeye, you're watching the wrong video. However, if you answered by saying New Master 69, then yeah, you're probably in the right place. Regardless, the point we're trying to make is that Deadpool's ability to interact with the audience makes him a perfect explorer of different realities. The effect can be accomplished through a solo movie or a television series. If the studio went the movie route, then the amount of content would be severely limited. The audience needs a core conflict to connect the story, so packing that and multiverse travel into 2 hours doesn't make a whole ton of sense. Instead, Disney would be better off putting it under the streaming service part of the business. They can never run out of content there, and the measure of success would be judged differently. Wade can be the viewer's guide as he travels the multiverse for some unspecified reason, but the conflict won't need to be rushed. Every episode can involve travel to a new reality. Yes, this sounds a lot like What If, but this time, Deadpool is the main focus. He's not giving his stage away to a bigger story. It's about his travels as a solo star. Let's kill 2 birds with 1 stone this time. Well, in Deadpool's case, it's eliminate 12 mercenaries with 10 bullets. Same difference. Either way, the binger might have found a way to introduce both the X-Men and Deadpool into the same universe. It all hinges on one big undercover operation. By now, you all know the leaked Phase 4 lineup. It's actually causing a big problem for us in making this list. You've probably noticed by now that Deadpool 3 isn't on that list. It makes it hard to rationalize his inclusion here for Phase 4. After all, he's like the lame guy sitting outside the club. He's not on the list. However, many internet theorists have a popular theory that we're borrowing from for this entry. The Avengers 5 moniker placed at the end of the list feels very sketchy. For starters, this piece of paper was leaked. It might be a trick planned by Marvel. Always expect the unexpected. Not to mention the lack of sense that movie makes in the grand scheme of things. Fans just finished a huge 4-movie arc with the Avengers. It's time to let another group take the reins. And many believe that that group will be the Fantastic Four. However, we see another option. If we're right and this Avengers 5 title is a lie, then it's possible Deadpool 3 would fit neatly into that spot. However, it'd need to be a huge film to justify ending the phase, so let's ramp up the stakes. Remember, Deadpool is deeply connected with the X-Men. It's possible his film could involve bringing over the team of mutants to a new reality known to us as Earth 616. Yep, you heard that right. It's possible Deadpool 3 would just be about merging the X-Men characters into the main reality. It's not likely, but it's more possible than him showing up in Far From Home. Sometimes we bend the rules a little to make entries work. To this point, this video is focused on movies and show rumors that involve Deadpool making his way into Marvel Phase 4. They're all valid theories and potentially the course of action that the studio will go with. All that being said, we think we've got one of the best possibilities in this entry. Here comes the bad news. It's possible that Deadpool won't get his big debut in the way everyone pictures it happening. No big screen sequel that continues to crush all expectations audiences had going into the film. No chance at a long life hanging out with Disney Plus streaming service. All of these theories might come true, but it's still possible that none of this happens in Phase 4. However, something big could still happen. Picture this. Spider-Man Far From Home just ended. You found out Mysterio is a big liar and you'll never trust Jake Gyllenhaal again. Peter Parker finally admitted his feelings to MJ, and the two of them are now dating. Nick Fury finally drops a real F-bomb in a Marvel movie, and everyone lives happily ever after. The credits start to roll, then fade to black. Next thing you know, a familiar face pops up for the end credit scene. That's right, Deadpool may not show up in a movie or show, but he can definitely show up in an end credit scene. Now, technically, if he showed up in Far From Home, it would still be Phase 3. However, giving him the chance to crop up in the end credits means that he can make a quick cameo in later films, and it makes sense. The creators can do a slow build with his character. Perhaps he parodies all the Thanos teasers we got over the course of the first 3 phases. It wouldn't be the most creative use of the character, but it works. This way fans can get excited for his content in Phase 5 without letting these new characters gather dust while they sit out this next phase. It's time to keep things simple from here on out. By now you understand that the 2 categories these ideas fall under are either television series or the final movie of the trilogy. There aren't many other directions we can go at this moment. One possible show idea would see a recasting for Josh Brolin. It'd be weird to see him reprise his role as Cable for the MCU, but it can work. Sure, the guy did just pull off one of the greatest cosmic threats to the universe to date, but that wasn't Brolin's fault. Cable is an intriguing complement to Deadpool. The two would work well if they were given their own show. Imagine Cable and Deadpool bouncing around different threads of existence. Both the Merc with the mouth and the time-traveling Brogue with the teddy bear would work great as time-traveling cops. The timeline is all out of whack right now thanks to Endgame. The MCU needs some kind of team to fix that issue. It's either going to be them or someone else. Regardless, the world needs its timelines fixed. Someone will need to do the job. Why not Deadpool and Cable? If you're good at something, never do it for free. It's a cliche saying, but it's true. Hence why Deadpool should never just do the simplest role out there for him, unless he's getting paid big money. Then this entry is right up his alley. At the end of the day, Wade Wilson's character is perfect for episodic content. He can be in Bermuda one day and Ontario the next day, and most viewers wouldn't even think twice. He bends the world around his character. One-off shows make a lot of sense with him. The show creators at Marvel are likely taking a good, hard look at running a low-stress style of show like this with him as the main character. Some episodes might involve Spider-Man, and some might even involve Wolverine. The best part of the episodic content is that any character in the MCU can easily fit into a single episode. There's no continuity that you gotta take care of with that kind of show. No character works that kind of storytelling better than Deadpool. If Disney wants to stick to what makes Deadpool successful, they'll probably choose this route. It's a bland and basic choice, but it's an obvious one when all is said and done. Let's face it, Deadpool is a little nuts. He's capable of losing his mind really easily. So how does moving over studios affect the state of his mental health? We're willing to bet the whole thing is a little traumatic for him. Some theorists out there are suggesting Deadpool ends up having a psychotic breakdown. No, it's not the comic book storyline you're thinking of, but it's sort of close. We're thinking it ties into the biggest moments of Marvel's first 3 phases. Maybe, just maybe, the would-be X-Men actually believes he's an Avenger. Perhaps a Phase 4 movie is in the works that explains the idea that Deadpool believes he's been here the whole time. He tells the audience all of the Avengers' greatest moments, but explains where he is in the action. It's basically deja vu with Deadpool tossed in for good fun. The audience gets to see how Wade Wilson convinces himself that he is an integral part of the Avengers despite never being on the team. It'd be an interesting concept that only this kind of character can pull off successfully. Yeah, we hear all the angry people preparing to flood the comments section telling us the current state of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's difficult to tie him into the organization given their changing role in the MCU. However, it is possible that with a new phase comes a new way of looking at this old organization. Perhaps Deadpool is a key part of that evolution. Many fans of the recent comics know that Deadpool can be seen as a father to his new daughter in recent editions. The dynamic was introduced here recently and ties into his work as a S.H.I.E.L.D. operative. Now, we're not saying that the MCU is going to copy straight from these new comics, but the idea is here for the taking. Many fans believe that we're about to see the introduction of armor and sword to the cinematic universe. Perhaps it's one of these organizations that employs Wade Wilson to give our character a starting point. Not to mention the hints we're getting from Far From Home would help tie Deadpool and Spider-Man together. Maybe the two end up as co-workers under Nick Fury. Now tell me that doesn't sound like an interesting concept to you. If not, then get ready because we got one entry left. It's only fitting that we end this video with a meta entry. After all, it's a key part of Deadpool's character. Since the dawn of this Chimichanga Addict's character, the meta has always worked in his favor. The writers should lean into that, and this theory provides a rational basis for that option. We don't want a movie filled to the brim with fourth wall jokes. Let's get that out of the way right now. However, some people, the binger included, enjoy the idea of the film being the fourth wall joke. What if Deadpool needs to work to get into the MCU? Perhaps the studio will allow a ragtag crew to storyboard a Deadpool film that focuses on his journey into the new cinematic universe. This way the studio can keep the situation relatively PG while explaining how it happened. It doesn't fit the normal Wade Wilson storyline, but it's a big risk that can bring two groups together in a natural way. And none of these entries are perfect, but this one is definitely an outside chance of happening. We wouldn't protest the idea of this theory winning out. Did we miss any other big possibilities? Share your thoughts and ideas in the comment section down below. Be sure to subscribe and follow the Binger for all of the latest updates.